We begin as a story and end as another story. Like catfish who emerge from ice in winter for a bite of nightcrawler bait and become a meal. Each day I move towards some climax and have faith in an ending. This day, another day gaslit by a nation. This ending, a mouse finishes gnawing off its own leg to exit a glue trap. Blood slick smears linoleum. Thin pulp trail like a memory. I feed my father his last full meal as he watches TV, and I think how many hours of my childhood must have been as silent as his, watching John Wayne or Lucas McCain as they lay down and outlaw the same way they had in his young eyes decades before. He blinks. Through the course of our lives, humans shed 40 pounds or more of skin, and today, with his sickness, it's like he's lost it all at once. A cough and spittle remind me of Ecclesiastes. There is a time for Stetson fedoras, for Kangol caps, a time to be bald and know the breeze, to laugh, to lean against car door and ask, how will I approach dying? Like the cardinal bobbing at the fruit of the dogwood tree, only hunger. The siren flaring in the distance be simply death. If I had one wish for my father's body at the end, it would have been not to see it frown. If I had two wishes, it would have been to send his body into the earth with a hat. He had style. To him, time was precious. He didn't play games. He quit school because recess was too long. Time was being born 5 months before Emmett Till and living through the same South that slaughtered him. Time was survival, apples ripening through the last frost. Time was helping an uncle share crop cotton, cousins in fields, peanut butter sandwiches without water, and another uncle lynched in a tree on the same road as church. Time was a 7-foot fishing rod, strong line, a sinker, and a live worm wriggling on the end, sending ripples across pond, white-tailed deer-tail still as she nibbles acorns from the ground. Time was reeling it in, was the blurry fur at the end of iron sights, traces of scale spill and sound of skillet sizzle in the evening. Cricket chirps bounce outside the door as doeskin falls to the floor. Time was migration, making way in a station wagon up several states to the projects up north to save. Time was being called nigger less often in a living wage. Time was muzzle of tank's main gun scraping street lamp on the corner with screech and flicker, spark and lean, road shadowed like an asphalt meadow under racing overcast. Time was night with street lightning and still thunder. Blood whimpers, curdles out of a black boy's face as he's lifted from the concrete, blinking, white cameras flash. Time was, you couldn't tell if eyes were slowly closing because the moonlight was so bright or consciousness was gone. Time was silent crickets burrowing into the ground. Time was not meant to be spent on the invisible, not math or poetry, not God, not the wind. Time was mouths to feed. The times I've arrived late would last longer than some lifetimes. I fail like rain falls, well, more like a heavy dew that can no longer hold its place in the clouds, or like a husky who sits yet still howls at the full moon. We are given one body to make a home in. I weary, I worry, I wait at the dead end in the alley of finding a cope. They no longer say we're on a spectrum, but in a forest. Red squirrel with no fear sits, visits his mouth to my right. Again, I didn't commit suicide. I wrote this poem, and the creek waters murmur on. Wind tender tussles the hair like an invisible comb. I think of the sun as mine, but now it's going. On the underside of a wing, across a wave, between a cloud, on wrinkling water surface. This is a struggle between peace and awareness, like the difference between a star and satellite with the naked eye. Distant innocents die by murder, children, mothers, and their men, and near. Others await sunrise. Survival like a camellia blooms. A caterpillar dreams of flight. Darkness erases winter horizon. Listen for a gnat song to break your heart. If you wait long enough, everything will happen, even how it all began. We begin as a story. Thank you.